going to ask all of our partners to come up with us today before we get started. It shows you the QR code where y'all can update your contacts to make sure that you get on the email list in case something like this happens again. If we didn't have your email, that we would have it for the next time. I do appreciate y'all coming, and thank you very much. Stranger crimes, kidnapping in Calhoun County is a rare event, but it did happen yesterday, unfortunately. While everybody's celebrating July the 4th, Miss Betty Cobb went shopping, and as she went shopping, a person was prowling the parking lot and picked her out as a person that he wanted to victimize. And he followed her from that store to another store, and to another store, and then followed her to her home. And when he got there, she was unloading her groceries. He attacked her, forcing her into the trunk of her vehicle and taking her to his home. In Calhoun County, something like this happens to one of our own, it's an all hands on deck. It's not just an average day for us, because we're a good community. And people on this stage, the volunteer fire departments, Ms. Cobb is well known to me personally. She's well known to almost every law enforcement officer in our county that works in this area, because she's a servant. She's a difference maker. She's somebody that goes out every day and serves her community. She drove an ambulance for many years. She's also a volunteer fireman in her community. So anytime there's a wreck, anytime there's a scene where volunteer fire department's on there, Ms. Cobb would always come up and speak to me and other deputies and other law enforcement agencies, officers, and so we know she's a sweet lady. Like I said, she serves, she gave to others, she was a difference maker. And this man kidnapped her, stranger on stranger. He just identified her from just perusing the parking lot and took her to her house. And so there were hundreds of people there scouring. We didn't know what had happened. All we know that her car was there, groceries were left in it, some items of her were in the yard, some items of her were scattered in the house. That's all we had. How do you take that to finding her within 6 hours is an absolute miracle, and it comes from cooperation. Our district attorney, I'll allow each one of these people to speak, but our district attorney, he showed up on scene to make sure that he gave us the advice we needed and make sure we had the things we needed, such as search warrants and subpoenas, to do the things that we needed to do. Chief Partridge sent an officer who was instrumental, that was on scene. The City of Anniston sent an officer that was on scene. We were coordinating with the East Alabama Metro Crime Center, who I cannot tell you, every city that does not have a crime center, they need one. Very thankful to the City of Oxford, their mayor, their council, for having the vision and spending the money to have such a center in their community. It makes not only Oxford safe, it makes Calhoun County safe, it makes the whole region safe. And their expertise was instrumental yesterday in us finding Miss Betty Cobb alive. And that is, I feel a little guilty. I feel a little guilty because I have tremendous pride and joy in finding her. At the same time, I'm very angry at what he did, and I'm very sad for her. But finding her alive, that's what us on this stage do this job for. And we're very thankful that we did find her alive. We have some work to do. We got to find this man. Tony Lamar White is he's on the loose. Inadvertently, not through work of us. Investigation takes us to facts, takes us to different areas. The way that this played out, his ex-wife called him inadvertently. She didn't mean to tip him off, but she called him and said, "What have you done?" And at that point, he had a jump on us. But we were able to get Miss White. She was in his house, in a closet, duct taped and bound. This is stuff that horror movies are made from. This guy is definitely somebody that's dangerous, and we have to get him as soon as possible. We have everybody from the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, local, state, federal. We have every available option to us, and they're working with us to find him. But we need the community's help in putting this guy in jail, and we're working on the public's help. This guy does not need rest. Anybody that knows him, anybody that might know where he's at, please call us. It takes all of us to be a good community. We cannot do it alone. We have to have your help. If somebody knows where he's at, somebody knows something, he's dangerous. People need to be aware of their surroundings. Something that we've considered that's worth mentioning. We're not saying that this is him, but this goes further than just the incident yesterday. People don't wake up going to people's houses, kidnapping them. That's not the first crime they've done. Some of y'all that's been in the media for a while, in 2012, this is a composite drawing of a man that followed a woman home from a local store in the northern part of Calhoun County, followed her home, same MO, and attacked her in rural Calhoun County. We have this man's DNA. It's never been a hit in the system. That was in July of 2012. In July of 2013, this same person attacked a woman in Mumford. We have DNA from that linked these two together. We will catch Mr. White. We will see if he is part of this same group, same person, because we do have DNA. But if it is connected, he's a dangerous person, and we need to do something to find him. He is extremely dangerous, and we need your help. And I'd like to give each person here an opportunity to talk. Once again, the Sheriff's Office is blessed with extremely talented people. I'm just the lucky person that gets to sit up here and talk about what we do. The people, the officers, the deputies, those guys are the heroes. They're the guys that go out and do the work each and every day. And I'm proud to be associated and get to work with them, because they are the ones, they're the difference makers. They put their life on the line, and I couldn't do what I do without them. And I'm extremely proud of not only our deputies, but Oxford Police Department, Anniston Police Department, our district attorney's office. Not to mention, I don't want to leave anybody out. You start naming names, you do that inadvertently, but Calhoun County 911 District, they showed up on scene. Our EMA showed up on scene to help us coordinate searches that amassed to find this lady yesterday on their 4th of July holiday. In Calhoun County, that's what we do. And I'm very proud of it, and I want people to understand that very thankful we found Ms. Cobb alive. And we're going to do everything we can to bring justice for her and find Tony Lamar White.
I'm Brian McVeigh, District Attorney for Calhoun and Cleveland County. I'd first like to thank the Sheriff for inviting my office to participate. I'd like to thank Lynn Hammond, who's my Chief Assistant, Laura Phillips, who's my First Assistant, and Eric Snyder, who was the Assistant who was doing search warrants and subpoenas while all this was going on. It helps to be on scene so we can answer questions and respond, and we can be sort of a force multiplier in getting legal writs to allow law enforcement to pursue tasks. So anyway, thank you for the Sheriff for inviting me. Thank you to Chief Bowles for having extra staff that was available to be the TAC team that went in and found her alive. And thanks mostly for all of the services that were provided by the Oxford Police Department. Chief Partridge has always been kind to share, and we had access to everything from the services of the EMAC to their helicopters to anything you name, and they had a officer on scene. So thank you to all these law enforcement heads for all their cooperation that made this good day happen in recovering a victim. The rest is left to come, and so we have to find him, and that will happen sooner than later. But thank you to these men for involving us.
I just want to say, first of all, we're very thankful that Miss Betty was found alive. I've known this lady for over 30 years, and she's a precious soul who's done so much for our community. And I'm just so thankful that she was found alive. I just want to say that the men and women of the East Metro Area Crime Center, the Crime Center was created for days like yesterday. And hopefully we don't have to use it like we did yesterday very often in our county, because we're very fortunate around here. But that's what it was created for, and I'm just thankful that we were able to help and do what we did yesterday. Thank you, Sheriff.
I'm Nick Bowles, Chief of the Anniston Police Department. There's nothing that I can say that these gentlemen have not already said. when you read between the lines, it's that every public service agency in this county and in this region all have the same mission, and when it comes down and it's time to put boots on the ground, we're all gonna attain that mission and get that job done. So I appreciate all these gentlemen and everyone else who's involved in our mission. Thank you.
Right now, Mr. White's wanted for kidnapping first and burglary first. There might be some other warrants that are forthcoming. There's a lot of work to do just because we have saved Miss Cobb. We have to find him, and finding him, there's a lot of work to do to find out if he's done this before to somebody else. This is not done. This is just the beginning. Once again, we couldn't have done it alone. Here, it's a team effort. Crime happens in places. We can't necessarily stop a criminal from doing it, but here in Calhoun County, if you do it, we're gonna catch you. We're gonna come at you from everything that we have, and here, we're not gonna allow it. You know, we're not gonna allow it to stand and let it go unpunished, so it's best just to go somewhere else. Y'all have any questions?
What charges will White face when he is captured other than burglary and kidnapping?
I'm sorry?
What other charges will White face when he's captured?
It'll depend on how the investigation goes and where that information leads us. Right now, it wouldn't be fair to speculate because we just don't know yet. So in our world, we got to go where the information takes us. You know, we can't speculate to what we might charge him with. It's going to be what the facts we can prove. And our main job at this point is to make sure that this guy doesn't get to live with us, citizens, ever again.
Do you have a motive?
Evil is, you know, and if this is the same guy, the motive is picking out elderly women to sexually assault.
Can you say anything about nature of injuries?
Without giving out too much, because our primary goal is to protect the integrity of the case, so we can successfully prosecute him, but he did assault her with a weapon. This guy is a dangerous, evil person. I do believe there's other crimes out there. If somebody watches this newscast, I think it will bring out other victims because some of the line of work that this man did, he worked as a CNA. He worked at places taking care of elderly and other people. And so I think there's going to be other victims. I think this guy here is a serial criminal, and this ain't the first time he's done this.
Can you say what weapon he had?
He had a knife.
Can you speak about his past criminal history?
Not too much. He had, I believe, a domestic violence and a robbery third.
Does he have any known family in the area that he
He does, and we're aware of those associations. We're aware of you know, we have an amassed a great amount of people working on this, and we're working. We know a lot about him at this point.
Is there any indication he was going to try to sexually assault her?
You know, at this point in time, you know, she went through a traumatic event, so we're trying to give her some time before we just go and do all of those things, so we'll have to figure that out. If he's the guy that did this in 2012 and 2013, that was probably his intentions.
What was her emotional state when police found her in the closet?
You can only imagine, because she thought she was going to die. You know, there's very few times that we get to have such a successful outcome in law enforcement. This is why we do this job. I went and saw her at the hospital, just like Chief Parcher said. He's known her for 30 years. I've known her a long time. She has my personal cell phone number. I went up there and hugged her neck, and I told her, I said, we weren't leaving. We weren't going home until we found you. We weren't going to quit. And that's why we do what we do. That's the reason why law enforcement officers get into this job. And we see it in the communities. You see it on social media. You see it in the media every day where we have been persecuted. We are good people. We have families. We love people. And we love Miss Cobb. That's the reason why we do this. And for days like today, I thank God she's alive, first and foremost. And the people, the heroes that went and found her, the people that did the work, I'm thankful for them each and every day. And if they haven't been told, I love them. And I'm proud to be a part of them, because they're the guys that make a difference in our world.
Of all the people he could have targeted, why specifically her?
I think he was targeting elderly women. Just, I guess, easier to control. that's a guess on my part, but when you're elderly, you're not as agile or as strong as you are when you're younger. But it very easily could have been anybody going to a store, grocery shopping yesterday could have been the victim.
Were you able to obtain any DNA from the scene that would be able to link him possibly to the person that he showed us in that sketch earlier?
That's our hope and goal. That's our hope.
Any idea of where he could be right now?
No, we don't know. That's the reason why we need the help.
What connection is the car to the?
In the car, sometimes you get information and we put it out. It doesn't mean it's an absolute positive. We're going off of information that we developed through the course of the thing. He had a car, and he left that car at the scene, so we don't know if he went on foot. He possibly used this car. There possibly might be another car. We don't know. He got tipped off and was able to leave about an hour ahead of us, and the car that he used to abduct Ms. Cobb was left at the scene. Oxford Police Department had the helicopter. We were able to have eyes on it. We had an Anniston police officer that had eyes on it until we could get people there to get her. So why he left the way he left is something yet that we don't know. So we got to figure that out. We got to find him, and we have federal, state, local. We have every resource we could ever think of is being used to try to find him. But nothing beats community participation. Nothing beats somebody that knows something, that says something. Somebody knows him. Somebody will see him. During the course of investigation, we've discovered that he might have possibly a drug addiction. Just because somebody is a drug dealer, I can tell you this from running a county jail, there's standards amongst people, and doing what he did, drug dealers won't put up with it. Somebody will call us, somebody will tell us, we need those people's help. So whoever sees him, whoever knows where he's at, call 911. We don't need your name, we just need the information of where he's at. We need to get this guy in jail. We need the community's help.
And just reminding people about being aware of your surroundings. Like you said, he followed her to multiple locations. How important is that?
It's very important, but you know what most people are? Complacent. It just doesn't happen every day, and people just get complacent. You go about your life, and and she went to the store, got some groceries, went to another store, and went to another store, and thank God those stores have video cameras, and thank God that we have the East Alabama Metro Crime Center here, and we were able to help locate that vehicle very quickly. And law enforcement's got to keep up with the times, and they're not here today, but the Oxford City Council and Mayor Kraft, they bought into Chief Partridge's vision. They spent the money, and it saves lives. It saved her life.
Will the city be offering any kind of reward?
We're working on that now. We're working on trying to get a reward from the governor's office, and if we can get money, we're going to do that, and we'll announce that as soon as we've secured that. Hopefully we can get him in jail. Hopefully my phone will ring any second. We have people that worked all night. They're working right now. They were just checking on a lead a while ago before we got on the stage that seemed promising, that ended up didn't turn out good. But we're looking, and we're not going to give up. We sent this out statewide, nationwide. We want people to be aware, other officers in other locations, if they happen to pull this guy over or something, we want them to know that this guy's dangerous.
You mentioned a call he got that allowed him to have a head start on police. Can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
We went to one location where the car was registered, and was trying to determine who was in the car, this, that, and the other. So a family member called and told the woman, said, hey, the police, they didn't know what we were there for at that time, and she called him and asked him, what have you done? She didn't know what she was doing when she did it. It was inadvertently, and so he had a head start on us.
Do you believe that's why he left her in the closet, because he was getting a head start and he was trying to flee?
Thank God he didn't kill her.
Do you feel like that prevented him from doing anything further to her?
I'd like to think so.
Was that his residence?
Was that his residence?
What are the nature of her injuries?
She's at the hospital now. I don't know the exact injuries that she has, but she had some lacerations, and she had some, she'd been attacked.
No permanent damage though?
She's gonna be alive. Permanent damage sometimes is unseen.
Have you talked to her family, and what was their response to you?
Oh yeah,
finding
her family was from me to you when we come across the radio that they had found her alive. can't contain yourself at that point. You know, I ran over to her and said, we got her, she's alive, she's 10-4, and we hugged. You know, and her husband was there, her daughter was there. Quite possibly the best moment of my 26-year career in law enforcement, was able to do that.
And Sheriff Wade, the other two cases that you mentioned, were they elderly women, or were
They
they
were.
sexually assaulted?
Those two women were. And they were elderly women, same exact MO, followed them from a store, their residents were in the country, kind of more isolated. And here's the thing, if this guy is a serial criminal, serial rapist, serial offender, how many times has he done this where he's followed somebody home and they pull into a neighborhood and he goes, not a good neighborhood? I don't know. We got a lot of work to do. We got to find out. There's a lot of questions to be answered.
Did you say he used to work with elderly prior to this?
He worked for a company sitting with elderly people, yes.
Do you know what happened or what time frame he worked there from?
He was still working there.
Can you say where he was?
I don't want to do that. It's not fair to that company.
Understandable.
So we're still in the beginning stages of that, but he had worked for some other places where he dealt with mentally challenged people. So there's a lot of work to do.
Even with his history, I think it was dating back to 06 and 07. Has he had any other run-ins with law enforcement between then and now?
Not that I know of, but it's possible. You know, last night, you know, it's several different phases. You know, first phase was to find her, second phase is to find him. So there's a lot, like I said, there's absolutely a ton of work to be done. I'd like to say it was a 30-minute Criminal Minds show and it's over, but it's just beginning. This is going to be weeks worth of work. And hopefully we can get a resolution to a lot of people and get one dangerous guy off the street.
Have you happened to hear anything about Anniston police possibly having this guy yesterday based on a tip that came through from the VCA Animal Hospital?
You know, and I'll say this, I wasn't there. I don't know if it happened, didn't happen, or whatever else, but if Anniston police come across somebody that needed to be arrested, they would have. We've got to stop blaming law enforcement for stuff that happens after the fact, that something could have happened. I don't know if that happened, didn't happen. I don't have any idea, but I think it's irrelevant. If he had committed a crime, they would have arrested him. You know, we'd have known yesterday, we'd have known 2 days ago what he was going to do yesterday, then we could have done that. But this isn't the Minority Report. We can't predict crime. We just got to be reactive. So I don't think that's a fair question. Anybody got anything else? Thank y'all very much. Y'all spread the word. Let's find this sick guy and get him in jail. Thank you.